market right here.
All right.
That's what the style goes. You know it, I know it, Danny Boy knows it, Papa Ruski, King Koopa knows it. He's over there on the court, man. Get him right there.
You want to show me shorts real quick? You want to show me the shorts?
Hey, man, hey, like father, like son.
Here.
10. 8, the last ones would be 8 or 9. That's one of the best back exercises. Are you guys doing that at the gym? Feel good, man. Feel like I'm ready, man, to be a troubleshooting consultant, exerciser, music producer. I'm ready, man. Be sharp.
He's trying to pick out the.
Be sharp. Be sharp for this gig because no room for squares. You got to be sharp to make it through the door. Like Danny, I got a nice butterscotch. Danny, I remember. All right, Dan, so the video that we worked on, man, so we're going to wrap it up with like a little closing thing. That's what you want to do with this thing here.
Yeah.
All right, talk about what, what was going on back in the days where we cruised around with Pops, rest in peace, him and I used to hang out, in the neighborhood over there in Big Bassett, out there in the San Gabriel Valley. And known your Pops for many years. We hooked up in not grammar school, but in junior high school. We ran across each other, ran with the same people, without mentioning too many names and stuff like that. We hung out with the same clique. Big Bassett Night Owls, was the main focus of the neighborhood over there that we ran with back in the days that was known as the most dangerous and notorious gang in San Gabriel Valley. Me and your Pops were doing our thing.
Yeah.
But there was always, whatever we did, there was always that love for music, finding good music,
Yeah.
and buying them, if we could afford them, right? In continuation school, there was an art teacher there that all he did was just play jazz, okay?
Yeah.
And we hooked into jazz too, So we kind of like hit all different spectrums of music,
Yeah.
It was the doo-wop and the soul that really got us going, on the collective. This was the main focus right here. I had so many records that, I wanted to start doing something with them. Started making a series of Night Owl music cassettes, which you see here, right? I took them to him and he started moving them for me, right? He'd keep them behind the counter at Sounds of Music, right? And he'd be moving them, right? So here, with this one here, Whopper Volume 6, we have the price that Mondo put down,
Wow.
okay, to sell, and he was making $5 on each one.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So he's selling for 10, he's selling for 15.
Yeah. So here he even put the date, 4/1/76.
That's how many,
Yeah.
30 years ago?
Yeah. But then me and your Pops, when the CDs came out, I started putting the music on CDs. It turned me on too.
Yeah.
And started making CDs, okay?
Yeah.
So the first one that I did was Gangster of Love there, right? Your Pops came up with the name Gangster of Love,
Yeah.
okay? And as you see here, this was the first one, the brown one here.
Yeah.
All right, and it had a lot of nice songs, man. Okay, Young Girl by the Promotions, which now is a $1,500 record.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember, that one coming out, and then we worked on another one. I think it was this one, man. I think this was the first one. It was Gangster of Love, Killer Doo-Wops, Volume 1.
Okay.
It had 20 cuts on it, and then I was going to school for graphic design.
Right. Yeah.
At Cal State and all that, so I did the design. And me and my dad kind of put the songs together. He picked the ones he liked, I picked the ones I liked, and together we kind of put them together like that. I think we did about 8 of them. We did a
Yeah.
doo-wop series, and then we did the soul series,
Yeah.
Killer Soldies and Killer Oldies. And then later, we ended up doing a collab with Duke from Psycho Realm.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the Psycho Soul triple disc CD compilation. And
Yeah.
at the time, we were selling these for $30, 3 CDs, 60 cuts. Duke has his CD of what he liked. I had my CD of what I liked, and my dad
Yeah.
had his CD of what he liked. And they sold, and they sold well. We ended up pressing a vinyl.
Mhm.
And now these are going for $300 on eBay, Amazon. You type in Psycho Soul,
Yeah.
$300 a pop.
Yeah.
And the vinyl is going for $850.
Yeah.
So I don't know any kind of like recent soul compilations that have went that high up on the
Right.
sales side,
Right.
you know. So
Right.
it was cool to see that, you know. And growing up with my dad, I mean, he, picked me up from my mom's pad when I was like 5. You know, we'd be cruising through East LA, bumping Donnie Elbert, and,
Mm-hmm.
all that good music,
Yeah,
and he'd
yeah.
be doing what he had to do, and I'd be in the whip just kind of rolling around.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, my love for doo-wop and soul music happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I just remember the more, you listen to something, the more you kind of get into it, right? It's like an
Right.
acquired taste for anything.
Right. Right.
I think with music, like, you could like it, but then to get into different realms, it requires listening to a little bit more.
Right.
You know,
You
like,
kind of work into it.
yeah. So I know for years I liked
Yeah.
doo-wop, and then I started getting into soul music. And this is when I'm 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
And I just really always liked it. And then I ended up making an oldie song, like a recreate of an older one called I Like to Be, and we pressed it up on vinyl.
Yeah.
Zodiak and the Killers, we threw that up on YouTube, and it ended up doing all right.
Yeah.
We never
Yeah.
did a video to it. We just, released a song. But this new song, we did the video, and it was like a commemoration of Pops,
Right.
kind of like reliving his life,
Yeah.
and you guys rolling to the stores and slinging
Right.
the CDs and the tapes, Sounds of Music, Norwalk Records, all the
Right.
mom and
Right.
pop stores that you
Yeah.
guys used to hit.
Mhm.
We even had Amoeba Records at the end, where we were going over there, me and my dad, and
Okay.
slinging them all that. But
Yeah. That was the thing. I wasn't there to, try and be a businessman and steal from the rights from these artists, who also got ripped off from their promoters. I was just there just to promote the music.
yeah,
Okay. If what I sold, I turned around and bought more records.
yeah,
Okay. And kept it alive like that,
yeah,
and promoting other artists and stuff like that on these cassettes,
yeah,
and keeping that music, out there so other people can hear it and say, hey, I like that record. I'm gonna go buy it. I'm gonna go find it. And that's what's happening.
It's
Okay.
funny how some of those dudes in the record, business, they act like they own the song. They act like they sang the song,
Right.
like as if you're taking something from them, when the reality is
Right. Yeah.
they didn't sing it. It ain't
Yeah.
theirs. They don't own the publishing, the
Right.
mastering.
Right. Yeah.
They just made a compilation
Yeah.
with that song on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had one of those guys that made a CD that came and talked a little, a
Yeah.
little smack to me about that I was playing his, his CD, because I played a couple of songs on the
Yeah.
radio show over there that it happened to be on his CD, okay? And they were like back to back that I played them off from the vinyl,
Yeah.
And he accused me of, playing his stuff. I said, "You're playing your stuff." I said, "You know what? These are vinyl, man, that I got, man." I said, "Besides," I said, "You don't know no damn right to this stuff," And it blows me away because
Isn't
now,
that crazy how a motherfucker, because he
Yeah.
owns a record or put out a CD, he
He
doesn't own
didn't
the
know.
fucking masters.
Right.
He didn't sing the song. So how does he even think of that
Yeah.
kind of shit?
Yeah. So these guys, come up with all this kind of crazy stuff, thinking that they own this stuff, which nobody owns this stuff,
Yeah. Except the dude that sang it.
Right.
Or the record
Yeah.
label,
Hopefully he's still alive. If not, then nobody owns it, right? Because there's a lot of this stuff, and these collectors nowadays, they focus on original stuff, which is good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. because they don't want nobody playing reissues and boots, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, then stop making the suckers, okay? Because they're the ones that are making them and selling them, right? You know, and they're getting down on people that are playing reissues. You know, I get a kick out of that, man. You know, they don't like it, well, then quit selling them, you know, because that's what they'll do. They'll boot them, you know.
Check out this one, Joe. This is one that I came out with called Overdose. You know, this is back in 2004. I just put a list together of songs that I dug.
Uh-huh.
And I guess the stores, they had a problem because of the syringe on the cover, you know?
Yeah.
To me, it kind of like, you know, was a trippy image, and it kind of represented a lot of the people that like that kind of music.
You know, well, nowadays, what the slang is dope. Okay, that music is dope.
Yeah.
Well, that's dope.
Exactly.
Okay, that to me, that's a sign that, hey, this shit is dope. You know what I mean? Okay, I mean, and that was the slang now.
It's gonna put you down.
That it's dope stuff, you know, dope records, man. You know, it's hard, you know, good stuff, right? There was other people doing it in different parts of the city, okay?
Yeah.
You know, in Orange County probably, in San Jose, San Francisco, you know, Chicago. There was Art Morales, okay, that was putting together Taste of Chicago, okay, it was his CDs, right? You know, and I would buy, you know, from him, and I would trade with him. Hey, check this out, you know, boom, boom, boom. And he would, you know, send me these, you know, these CDs, you know, and he called, these are called steppers, okay? You know, I guess that was a term for that style of music, that beat of music, you know. So every once in a while, I'll go out and play, you know, what I got, you know, at different venues and stuff, and have a good time. I've been to Mexico, you know, playing this stuff with Joey Quinones, who's the new Chicano. That's a good thing that they're keeping it alive. Yeah. That's all we want to do is to keep it alive.
You know, my dad, you know, he passed away about 2 years ago. It caught us by surprise. You know, at 71, he was doing pull-ups, push-ups, you know, he was in good shape. And they found out that he had a brain tumor, you know, from being on the cell phone all them years, you know, doing sales. You know, you love to talk, right? So, you know, you get on a phone call with him, it could be a couple hours.
Yeah, he used to call me on his way home from here, man, from Arizona. What are you doing? I'm driving home, man, you know. We chop it up a little bit, man, you know, keep the monotony out of the drive. I know that's what was happening.
Yeah, but them cell phones, man, it really did damage, you know, just right there by the temple, all the time, you know. They say even in the handbook, you're not supposed to be, you know, so close to the phone. Well, how you know, they don't teach you that. It's real small, fine print, but you know, they gave him 6 months to live, and he ended up living 2 years when after that diagnosis. And you know, he fought and tried to eat as healthy as he could, and, but you know, grade 4 glioblastoma is just really you know, really dangerous, the most dangerous cancer you could get. So, you know, he fucking rolled it out.
We had some beautiful times together, man. You know, I remember back in high school, man, he had that 39, man, that was all beat up and primers and stuff, man. But we still go cruising in that thing, man, you know. We're having some good old times, man, running from the police, you know. Doing a little bit of battle here and there, you know, and it was a lot of good times, man. You know, you know, just going to parties and dancing and, you know, chasing girls and stuff like that. You know, it was a dynamite time, man.
You know, and the fact that, you know, he got to live to 70 when a lot of your friends, you know, didn't,
right.
A lot of people didn't make it that long.
Right, especially what we were involved with, you know. It's a miracle, you know, that we're still alive, you know, because we were involved in things. The only thing that could be the result was either jail, okay, which of course we hit, right? Institutions, okay, which could be, you know, hospitals, okay, which we hit also, or death, you know. And that's what happens to a lot of the guys, a lot of the homies that couldn't get away, you know, couldn't break that cycle. Your pops came to me when I was already cleaned up. He was still running around out there, and I told him, whenever you ready, homie, okay? So he came and told me, hey, man, I'm done with, man, let's do it.
After he quit, you know, he ended up working for the city in Watts,
Right,
helping a lot of the kids that were going to juvenile hall, that were on drugs and gangs,
right,
to try to transition them back into society,
right.
get them back into work positions, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. So I think the fact that he had been through it, the kids listened to him more
Yes,
because he had been through it,
Yeah.
right?
right,
So I think he was able to help some of them out and, you know, put them on the right path.
right. That's one thing your dad was, man. He was a giver,
Yeah.
okay? He was a giver, man, okay?
Yeah.
He was always helping people as much as he could and
Yeah.
putting out of his own pocket. But, you know, we were able to just give it up, man, and turn our life and our will over to God, you know?
Yeah.
Bottom line, you know? Ain't no hiding it,
Yeah.
you know? Ain't no hiding it, man, you know? God is the one that helped us through this mess, man.
Yeah.
And so we don't, you know, we didn't die in our early age, man, you know, from overdoses or stabbings or fighting or anything like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We were very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
No, it was a good thing back then, man, you know.
Yeah.
For us to be able to be sitting here doing this, man, is a miracle.
Well, thanks a lot, Joe. I mean,
All right.
coming down here, man, and putting this out, I think it's going to be good, you know, just for the history of record collecting, soul, and doo-wop, and, you know, just kind of showcasing all the stuff you and my dad did back in the days, you know. It's a beautiful thing to have all this stuff and have it out there, you know, the way it is. And where can everybody find you at on Instagram and any other kind of like platforms?
Instagram is Night Owl, NITEOWL, 1951. All right, you can just drop me a dime there and let me know. Okay.
And everybody watching out there, you know, you guys can find me on Instagram at dr.zodiac with the K .68. Also zodiacsmoonrock.com. We have all of our cannabis stuff on there. You know, we got music, apparel, stuff like that. You know, for everybody out there, you know, on the different projects that we worked in is Gangster of Love, Psycho Soul, Felony Fights, Sick Fuck Clothing, Moon Rock, Visual Blast. We also came out with Soul Side CDs that I don't have them here right now, but that was another compilation that we put out. And yeah, man, come check out our stuff.
Little shout out there to Hector, you know, for helping me out in this radio show and plugging us in over there. Thanks for having me, man. You
All
know,
right, Joe.
We'll get this, you
Thanks
know,
a lot,
get
man.
this out there. All right.
All right.
Hey.